Thanks. Ellen Weintraub from the FEC, and I want to thank Adam for the shout-out on the Internet reg, which I actually did write, with Michael Toner. Got to give fair credit. My question is, what if we changed how much information goes on the public record? Instead of, or maybe in addition to, adjusting the threshold. What if we didn't put people's home addresses? And we don't do the phone numbers, but what if we didn't put addresses on there? What if you just had the names? Because those laws were written before the Internet existed, when people had to come into our office building and go sift through the records, so people didn't do it, and people's home addresses, weren't exposed to so many people. Now everybody can get it on their home computers, which is great for transparency, but maybe it's a little bit too much personal information.
I mean, the truth is that the exterior tools are out there that, as long as you have a name and a zip code, that's enough to get everything else. Even if it's not on your site, there are enough other sites that are out there that have that information, that if somebody cares enough to link it all up, it's all going to be linked up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think, so taking that point about how these tools, the next generation of these tools is going to be even much better than what we've got right now, that itself, the privacy interest here itself, I think, is a strong argument in favor of the citizen-funded elections, right? You don't tend to weigh the privacy interest very significantly. I do. I don't think it's a fair tax to have to impose on someone to participate in the political system that they then got to subject themselves to, whatever kind of harassment that might come from it. And I'd like to have a political system where we could avoid that. And I think that's what the citizen-funded, any version of the citizen-funded would give us.
Yeah, I think we have time for maybe one more question, one or two if they're quick. Yeah.
Jonathan Becker, Wisconsin Government Accountability Board. It seems to me that the major cost of campaigns is the purchase of television advertising, and I'm wondering if you see the Internet, which is a free medium and an alternative, would ultimately have an effect together with such phenomenon as TiVo, which allows you to skip through commercials and 100 cable channels instead of 4 networks, whether that all plays into a decreased importance of television and hence decreased cost for campaigns.
Well, I do think that the availability of free service on the Internet will change that balance, although we should recognize, according to Slate at least, YouTube is losing $1.5 million a day. So the long-term viability of this model is not yet established in anybody's mind. I also think another hugely significant cost is the cost of running professional campaigns. So that's consulting fee, and that's also polling costs and things like that, which again would be reduced significantly, I think, if we saw more free software in this space, if we saw more smarter technologies for gathering that information, and that would be just as important in supporting this grassroots politics as lowering television costs.
I mean, the thing about television advertising for campaigns is that it allows you to reach people who aren't otherwise paying attention and who don't care, on a mass level, to push information that's out there. Websites are so fragmented that, even if you're going at sort of, nonpartisan newspaper websites, you're still not reaching people who don't read the newspaper that way. Television is still going to be a part of this even after TiVo. And the problem with political campaigns, as opposed to other products, that advertise on television, is that they can't do product placements in shows. While Grey's Anatomy, can decide one week to have each one of their characters drinking Coca-Cola and talking about how great and refreshing their Coca-Cola is, they're not going to be walking around talking about, what a great candidate for Senate Bob Casey is. It's just, it's not very entertaining. Although the resurgence of his unibrow is. Oh, there are pictures. So. There's always going to be, campaigns are always going to be looking for some kind of space to push their message out to people who aren't paying attention. It's going to be television, even in the age of TiVo, for a damn long time, because there's no place on the Internet that gets you that kind of mass attention at once.
Well, I'm going to add one little wrinkle, but and then unfortunately we're out of time because there's so many things we could talk about. The micro-targeting and nano-targeting using contextual advertising is still in its early days. And we are all experiencing it now. If you use Gmail, for example, and you ever wonder about those ads that appear alongside your email, let me give you a fun experiment. Send yourself an email with the words Act Blue, ActBlue newsletter, just in the body of the email, okay? And what will come up when you receive that email are all the people who have purchased sponsored ads to appear alongside anybody receiving an email from ActBlue. ActBlue being the big small donor aggregator for Democratic candidates. I did this the other day. I was entertained to discover that Terry McAuliffe was prospecting for donors. Now, you might say there's nothing wrong with that. If I'm a subscriber to the ActBlue newsletter, maybe I really do want to hear from Democratic candidates. But there's the targeting potential of the internet, which we haven't spent much time talking about at all. I think a lot of political campaigns are going to get very sophisticated about this over the next few years as they look for ways to deal with the fact that they can't get everybody who used to watch television. So the frontier, you know, it's going in a lot of very interesting directions. I'm afraid we're out of time. I feel like we only skirted the surface, a lot of these issues. I wish we could spend more time. Read Larry's blog, read Adam on Daily Kos, come to Personal Democracy Forum, and you know, let's continue the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.